great Saturday here in the USA. I'm going to have to check my Facebook site, obviously, and make sure we're cooking. And there I am. And of course, you guys got to tell me if you can see me and you can hear me like usual, guys. We'll wait for people to come in. I'm going to have a great show today. Very great show. Four o'clock here on a Saturday. Our guest is from Sweden. So there's that big time difference. And Cindy says, hello, see you and hear you. Thank you so much, Cindy. Thank you so much. And of course, hello, Daniel Spino, the professor's in the house. Loud and clear. We got the signal loud and clear. That's what I love. We're running smooth so far. Okay, you guys know every time I try do a live broadcast, I always got to give out the shout out to my Templar supporters that are on YouTube. I want to thank Tammy for rejoining and Mark M, who is new. I got to thank Sandollar, Barbara, Todd, Renee, our master, Roxy, Mike, Annette, the other Annette, Jazdia, Wayne, and Starlene for their continued support and that extra support to Judy, Barbara, Daniel, and Mike. I thank you very much. And you guys, you also know what today is. Today is September 11th, and we'll never forget what happened in 2001. I just want to put that in there. I want to thank my moderators, Tammy, Judy, Renee, Michelle, Daniel, and Starlene. The phone lines will not be open today. I want to welcome all my Quest of Oak Island Facebook group, my YouTube channel, and all my listeners on my radio podcast around the world from the Anchor host. I thank you guys so much. All righty, guys. Well, I have a guest on today. He was in season 2, episode 5. It was called The 90-Foot Stone. Rick and Marty met with Daniel Ronnstam, a cartographer who believes that the slab of stone found at the depth of 90 feet holds a different set of clues to the treasure than previously thought. In 1949, Reverend A.T. Kempton used a simple substitution, determined that the stone reads 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. Ronstam, however, believes that the cipher is actually 2 codes in one, including both the original English reading and the Spanish version that, when translated to English, reads, at 80 foot, guide corn, long narrow sea inlet drain. Supposed instructions on how to beat the booby traps that flood the pit. I want you to give a good welcome and a hello to our guest today. His name is Daniel Ronstam.
Yes, hi, John. Thanks for inviting me to the show.
Hello, Daniel, and I thank you publicly for coming on and taking your time to come on our show, The Quest of Oak Island. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm happy to be here and to answer some questions that you have for me.
Okay, can everybody hear Daniel okay? Michelle, everybody's on the okay? And Michelle, she's one of my monitors. She says, hello, Daniel. Okay.
Hello, hello. Yes. You hear me okay, everyone?
Yes. Okay, Daniel, we're set to go. We're cooking with gas.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We're going to get right into it, Daniel.
Yes.
Daniel Spino. Hello, Daniel Ronstam. Thank you for joining us loud and clear. Okay. The first question I ask all our first guest appearances is how did you get involved to be on the show, The Curse of Oak Island in season 2? Go ahead, Daniel.
Yes, it all started back in 2010 when a colleague of mine at my work said he viewed this documentary about this hole in the ground in Canada. And then I saw that documentary and I was hooked completely for half a year. And then I read everything I could and went into Peter Amundsen's work. And then I lost interest for a while and started doing some experiments. And then I thought I found something. I was not sure if I found something then, but I thought I found something, and which ignited my interest to read up on historic steganography. And then there was 3 years of that, diving into this possible discovery. And during that time, I contacted, as many others have done, Rick and OT to get some contact.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent them some stuff, and Rick became interested, and he invited me over to do some private lectures for him and also be on the show. So that's what I did, and the thing I was on the show with is a small part of my experiments there, but it has to do with the Kempton cipher, the Kempton sequence of symbols. Sorry.
Yep. Can you give us any kind of behind the scenes action that was happening during your famous episode that you were on, The Curse of Oak Island? Anything you can tell us, like behind the scenes or what?
Well, it was like many other documentaries, quite slow and boring, and you had your directors screaming, "Can we stop? Can you take that again?" And we had to do that. So that's what we did. But we had a very nice time, and it was a lot to learn and how they produced that kind of show. And I was part of I was walked around on the island while they made investigations and so on.
Right. So they gave you the whole tour of the whole island. Obviously, you were there more than one day then, right?
Yes, and I was with them when we was in the swamp, and we did some investigation in the swamp there.
Okay. Alrighty. We'll have a question here. It says, what is your opinion of the purpose of the 90-foot stone that was reportedly found in the money pit? Daniel, thank you.
I try to keep it short. I have a hypothesis that is based on my experiment and the research I've done in steganography, and that is that it's a very complex. It's a complex system, and that sequence of symbols, if they were the Kempton symbols, is actually a quite neat way to attract interest in the pit, because that's what they want to do. It's a beacon in my hypothesis. The whole system is a beacon. They want people to never forget this island, but keep at it, keep digging until the right people come along. And the right people in my hypothesis from the Francis Bacon and the Rosicrucians are, of course, the initiated. So they're trying to use they're using the normal or the uninitiated to ignite a feeling that there is a treasure here, and so people will come and look.
Yeah, but what's your opinion on? I've heard. I mean, I don't have fact, but they say that the 90-foot stone was face down as they dug down. Is there any solution to why it was like not face up? If you have any idea, thank you, Daniel.
Yes, face down due to because it was in the way, so they need to lift it out. And when they lift it out, they lift it up and they see that there are symbols on it. That it could, it could be beneath it or could be above it. It doesn't matter, because when they lift it up, they're going to see the whole stone, because it's so difficult to get out of the pit anyhow.
And like I said before, the members are always asking me, and I always ask myself, how do we know that this is a real item? Go ahead, Daniel.
We don't, but what we can do, and what I have done, is that I investigated the symbols themselves that are in that 1949 letter by Kempton.
Mm-hmm.
And Kempton was actually he collected folklore in the area at the time, and he claimed that he got that sequence of symbols from an old school teacher in Mahone Bay, as you might know. And there might be suspicions that that is actually the university guy who they claim in the old newspapers to have made the first decipherment of those symbols. But anyhow, it's a long chain down the line. But the symbols themselves, if you attack them with cryptography, as the guy Dr. Wilhelm did, he was a real cryptographer in the Second World War. I'm just an amateur cryptographer. He was a real educated cryptographer, then working as professor in Michigan in economics. I've talked to his family, and he spent like 6 months trying to break out the polyalphabetic cipher from those symbols, and managed to some sense. He had to change some symbols, but what I did was take his work seriously, went through it and made some corrections due to an assumption he made wrong, I think. And this is when I started to understand that this is very likely a dual cipher. It's a very, very complex cipher to create. So it's that's why I think it's way too complex to just someone just write up to get some money.
Right.
Why will they make a second message in Spanish if they already have a message in English that they can sell?
Right.
Yeah.
What does the cipher say, and how would this work as a solution to the water trap, Daniel?
Yes, there are two functions in this hypothesis. The first is that 40 feet below 2 million pounds are buried. That's the bait message. That's the message that is simpler to decipher, and for the uninitiated to decipher, because it was quite simple, to believe that there is a treasure in the pit. The other cipher, which is much more complex, is to break out, is for the initiated that are educated in cryptography, and that tells how to stop the water traps and get further down the pit.
Okay, Dean Barker says, is that 40 being FGORTY?
No, it's 40 feet below 2 million pounds are buried, with 2 F's in the beginning. And 2 F's, lowercase f, was used very commonly in the English 16th century alphabet and 17th century to mark a capital F. So, yeah.
Right. And why I asked you when they told me, and I've heard that the stone was buried with the crypt face down, if you read it, say you're not coming from the top down, but coming from the bottom up. Now, if you're coming from the bottom up and you read 40 foot below, would they mean maybe 40 feet on top of the stone or below the stone? That's what came through my mind. What do you think of that, Daniel?
I think they are referring to below the stone.
Okay.
Because the stone laid on a surface that when you remove the stone, you broke the water seal, and then the water starts coming in. So what happened is that when you remove the stone, you take it up and you see that there are symbols on one side. Then water starts sipping in, and then when water comes up, someone deciphers the simpler message and see, wait a minute, there's a treasure here. We have to keep digging. We have to keep trying to get down here. Tell everyone to get us money. So the rumors spread that something is here, but they are the dumbasses, so to speak. They are not initiated. They're just there to make people know about this place.
Right. And I'm just gonna input this on there. I had a little program on Wednesday about when Doug Cromwell found the stone similar to the 90-foot stone at the binary shop, that they pounded leather on it and they thought maybe the letters were gone. But we surmised, in our own opinions, that it's not the 90-foot stone. It's a comparable thing to the 90-foot stone, but not actually the stone. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah. I know about that. Yes, I think as well it's not the 90-foot stone.
Right.
But it might have some historical significance, as Doc Crowell, in the history of how that stone disappeared.
Right. And
So,
did they ever test the stone as far as the stone being native to the area, or the stone is not native to the area at all? Do you know anything about the stone's material?
you mean the one they found?
Yeah.
The show?
Yeah.
I don't know actually about that. No.
Okay.
No, sorry.
No problem. Now we're talking about this cipher wheel. And oh my God, can you explain how the cipher wheel works somehow to us people trying to understand what's going on?
Yes. To explain it easiest, I think the cipher wheel, how it is used and broken by Dr. Willem in 1971, comes from a book called De Frutivis Literarum Notis, who is from 1563, I think, by Porta, some guy named Porta. And what it actually does is the following: for each symbol you have, you change. When you go from one symbol to one symbol, you change the key on how to decipher it, which makes it really complex. In a normal 40 feet below 2 million pounds of buried, you see up in the upper there, the same symbol represents the same letter. That's a simple substitution decipherment. In a polyalphabetic decipherment, the solution changes, the meaning of each symbol changes each time you go past. And there are ways to break this, but you need to be really into cryptography to be able to do that. They were very good at it back in the days when they used this in military, this kind of ciphers, but it's forgotten now, more or less. So yes, so what we see here is the dual cipher. You have the simpler on top, and you have the more advanced underneath. The simpler is in English. It's modern spelling, yes, but they spell the same. It was very common during the 17th century as well. You have two F's in the beginning, which makes no sense to a modern person, but it makes very much sense to a 17th century Englishman, because that's how they use spell. And then you actually have a Spanish message, but it is the English 17th century alphabet that has been used. I claim, in my hypothesis, that if you do the decipherment with the English 17th century alphabet, you don't have to change any symbols, as Dr. Williams did to make his break attempt work. You can get the Spanish message with this set of symbols that are in the Kempton message. So that is my correction of his attempt.
Daniel, is the cipher wheel you use similar to what Dr. Orville Ward Owen used to decipher Bacon's codes?
No, he put up a big wheel, and he tried to follow wordings. Fortune, I think he followed. That's a completely different thing. Dr. Owen. I will not say that he was a complete mad hatter. He was a doctor. He was intelligent, but his methods was not productive.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. But this is a completely different thing. The polyalphabetic cipher you see here was commonly used up until the 19th century in military or in secret coding, so to speak, decipherment.
All right, Daniel, what's your opinion when some say the symbols on the stone may not be legitimate and the story of its foundings are not accurate?
Absolutely, that's one theory, one hypothesis, and it's a valid claim due to the lack of information we have. But what I claim is that the only thing I claim is that the Kempton symbols in that letter stand a very, very high chance of being a really, really complex cipher construction that someone like Bacon, both Francis and Anthony Bacon, was able to produce. But I very much lack the belief that a 19th century treasure company had the abilities and the skill to create that kind of dual cipher.
Yeah, he says also, how is this stone related to the Knights Templar, the Rosicrucians, and the Freemasons?
We don't know, but if it's Francis Bacon who made it, or his gang, then it will of course be related to Rosicrucian movement and very early Masonic. Yes.
Yep, this Francis Bacon comes up more and more. The more guests I have, the more people that attribute this Francis Bacon is unbelievable. Like I said, a friend of mine, Jake Roberts, does the same, and like Peter Armenston does the same, and now you. It seems like it's all going into the same direction. But I never thought of this Francis Bacon before. All you guys kept on saying this, and his name keeps on coming up. He's definitely involved in something on Oak Island. This Francis Bacon, no doubt in my mind.
Yes, I think it's high probability, higher than the other theories we have, due to a lot of reasons, of course, as much has to do with my own and others' research on the facts.
Francis Bacon has hints of secret boxes on the Oak Island. What are these and what's in them? I never even heard of this before.
Secret boxes. Well, Atlantis, New Atlantis he made some allusions and symbolic things that could be related to Oak Island, perhaps, but I will not speculate on that. But there are some grandiose reason for this whole project, of course, that we don't yet fully grasp. But yeah.
And here's a question: if you knew this, we'd all be done. Where is Bacon's hidden chamber, and what is in it?
Yes, we don't know if there is a hidden chamber, and we don't know what he put in there. But one thing is for sure: what he put in there, or what his gang, they felt to be very important to preserve for future generations. Because they didn't do this to get it up themselves; they did it for future generations to get up. Is quite likely in my mind.
I got another question, and it says about a hooked X. Was there any hooked X on a boulder that might indicate Templar that you know
of? In the location I'm still investigating, which is locked down due to the corona, I can't get in. We have a boulder with an X mark, a possible X mark. It's not. We don't know yet if it's natural or it's man-made because it's very eroded. But I say there's a 50-50 chance, and everyone who has checked it out as well said there's a 50-50 chance or something. Yeah.
Fantastic. Can you tell the members your current status on your future endeavors on Oak Island, if you can say, you know what I mean, Daniel?
Yes, we will continue to investigate the site on the mainland, and we have found stuff there that labs say put some kind of activity there down in the same time period as the Oak Island, around 17th century. but we have no idea. We investigate it when we can, and it's really complex because it's partly underwater and there's a lot of permit situations and things like that. But what I will do in the beginning of next year, the first few months of the next year, I hope, is to put up all of my stuff, everything, including all of the software I have produced for steganography analysis and everything, will be put up on a new website. And there will be nothing to hide after that. It will be the full Monty, everything. And that is to try to get more people to be interested in this.
So this is going to be a software that I can put symbols in.
Yeah, it's small pieces of software that you can put in text, and it will use different known 17th century or Renaissance steganography systems like acronyms, telonyms, all these kinds of stuff, and try to extract other text from that text, and then we can read if you see some messages and words.
Unbelievable. Of all the places, Daniel, why do you believe Bacon chose Oak Island for his operation?
One of the reasons perhaps was that he was in a company that both below Nova Scotia, then Arcadia, and above Newfoundland, he was very involved both politically and economically in that area. And then Oak Island is placed inside a deep bay, so it's a big bay, so it's very easy to see if foreign Western ships come near. That's one of the reasons, I think. And then, of course, that it's a good island to hide stuff on.
Unbelievable. Yeah, of all islands, yeah. And now we're going to switch to Marty's favorite place. What do you believe is under the swamp?
Yes, under the swamp, that has changed a bit due to new findings.
Correct.
Hypothesis that was presented before from different people, including myself, should or might change, I think. And I think, there is data coming out from that swamp that the road going up is like from the Middle Ages or something. So there has to have been a lot of activity going on there for a long time.
Yep.
So used to build whatever they build there, and I think there has been several buildings built there. Maybe the money pit was the latest of them.
Yep. And I always say, and I always complain, they're digging all over, Daniel. And I'm going, I want them to dig in the eye of the swamp. Dig all that blue clay out, because if it was a blue clay mine, why is there still blue clay up on top? If I was a blue clay mine, wouldn't they be all dug out and gone? Just a big hole?
Yes, I think they should go there as well. They have permit issues, but they should just remove the swamp completely and make it an archaeological excavation, the whole swamp. That's what I think.
Yeah, but like you're saying, the permits, they can't even put a cofferdam up in there because I guess swamp is a big environmental thing. It's not like doing Smith's Cove. It's not like doing the Cove, but a swamp's got all kinds of environmental places that it's just real particular what kind of permits they get. They get permits to drain it, and I see that they're excavating things in the swamp, but I don't see any cofferdam up. I don't see anything to hold the mud back or anything. And we do see now that there's a caisson and a big digger. So maybe they're just going to put the caisson in the mud to hold the mud back because they can't put a cofferdam in. I'm not sure on that, but I'm just saying by the time now, September 11th, and they don't have no cofferdam in by now, what do you think of that?
No, I've heard that they had permit issues with that, but I've also heard that before they could drain the swamp by just moving it. So if they create a new swamp of the same size somewhere else, that could be that could work to get a permit. But I don't know the details of it, so it's
right.
and it's a bit sad actually, because we have something that is has rewritten history. There are Western people there from the Middle Ages.
Yep.
So we don't know if there's Western people, but probably they're Western people
Mhm.
have done
Bes-
it.
Besides Bacon, who do you believe assisted and was responsible for this project?
Assisted. Well, actually, my hypothesis is that from the steganography side, there were, a lot of the people in playwriting and stuff in London at the time knew about this project, because it was so small. It was the size of London was the size as Malmö is today. It was 300,000 people, and the guys who was involved in theater was like 30 to 50 playwrights. They all knew each other. Everyone knew everything about each other. So, and they lived there very close to each other. And so Anthony Bacon, Francis Bacon, Henry. I don't know about Henry Neville. That's not my theory. But we have what is his name? Greville. I don't remember them all. But a lot of the people around Francis Bacon, Anthony Bacon, Earl of Essex, and also some other Earl there. But a lot of people probably knew about this.
Okay. Do you believe there's any locations where Bacon hid things?
Yes, in my hypothesis, there is. He hid something away to preserve something for future generations, based on my experiments and my steganography research.
For future generations. This guy Bacon drives me wild. He just is so, at his time, into the future. It's just unbelievable. I can't grasp it all. But how do you think that far ahead in making an encryption that only a certain amount of people know, that they might have found something 200 years before I make this encryption? And how do they figure these things out 200 years in the future? I mean, things have to be passed down, Daniel. You know what I mean? It has to be passed down somehow through the families, through something, because otherwise it'll just be lost forever. What do you think of that, Daniel?
Well, I actually have a very, very detailed hypothesis around that. I think the project was placed where it was in the New World because of the Rosicrucians, headed by Francis Bacon and some others, saw the New World as a new start for humanity.
Right.
Because Europe was completely shattered and bad society. And we have to think about that 17th century Elizabethan England was the worst police state that mankind has ever seen, with executions. It was a really bad society. So they thought that America was the new place, and we need to hide stuff for the initiated Masonic there for them to find later in the future when mankind has matured. That's my theory, and the whole system is a mechanical is created in this hypothesis for people. No one should know this. We should all forget it, because if we remember it, we are at risks. We could be tortured, and we could give away the secret. So it must be a mechanical system that everyone can forget about, and it works on its own. It's a completely mechanical system.
Yep, that sounds just about right. Do you believe Bacon or someone else of importance? I always thought of this all the time, and you're the man to ask. Is buried on Oak Island? Is it a tomb? Is it somebody that's been of importance buried on the island? What do you think of that one, Daniel?
Yes, hypothesis again. This is very loose theory, of course,
Right.
but I think someone has been having that island for some kind of hiding place since the Middle Ages, something. And then when we come up to the 17th century, when the colonization of the United States of the Americas, came on. Bacon and maybe his predecessors saw there was a risk. There's a risk here because they can find this thing that we want to hide away. So they create an even better hiding place that is mechanical and intellectual in nature, and that's the money pit and the cryptography and everything. So so in essence, in my hypothesis, the money pit and the Francis Bacon involvement is a pimping of the former hiding place.
Even though they've been looking for it in the same spot for 235 years. And I even tell my members and stuff like that. They got like 45 shafts, 8 caissons, and thousands of holes. We come up with little bits and pieces. We got a solution channel that's 172 foot deep at the money pit. But it's either two things I tell my members, Daniel. Number one, they're not drilling deep enough. Number two, they're in the wrong spot.
Yes, they're in the wrong spot, and I think as well. And the thing is, that hole is really, really deep. To hide something valuable at that depth, I mean, really valuable to someone building it, is not smart. It's not smart. But you can bury stuff that like silver or gold that you want to have as bait for something.
Mm-hmm.
Small amounts of, or it could be big amounts, but for an intellectual Rosicrucian movement, money is not important. They can use money as bait.
Yeah.
It's not
that sounds
important.
good. That sounds real. It's the artifact they're protecting.
Yeah,
that's where the charm is.
Yeah, they're using the greedy to get to the worthy. They're using the greedy. They're trying to to project the notion of a treasure that is buried, and at the same time they're waiting for the worthy, the initiated, to find this place and solve it and find something outside the island. It's an hypothesis.
Right, hypothesis. I understand. And what do you think is actually buried on the island? We've heard the menorah. We've heard the Ark of the Covenant. We've heard just regular gold and silver. I mean, we haven't found anything, even though we got Spooner silver. Last season, they had a hang the hook of Spooner silver. There's a war room that you sat in, a war room full of silver that his measurements that he took from a water sample in C1 says that is the amount of silver it shows. What do you think of that one, Daniel?
Yeah, I think that is really interesting, of course, and it keeps things going.
Yeah,
and and but I mean, the money pit is way too complex of a construction just to hide some silver away, and so you have to think. I think there is silver down there. There's something valuable down there has been spread out all over the place. But that's not the reason for the construction. It's not the reason for the construction. Not if you take into account what they have found in the pit before.
What do you think of? Now we're going to skip around a little bit, Daniel, about Zena Halpern.
Yeah.
The maps that she produced, and a friend of mine, Erin Helton, she's been on my show a couple of times, who's trying to pinpoint things from drilled rocks and given new locations. And also another friend of mine, Dot to Dot, he has a YouTube channel, who came up with a vault theory based on the Cremora documents, based on measurements, on what his thoughts were the vault is. Can you shed any light on not the new technology, but just putting the old maps and the old things we know to get an X on the spot? Thanks a lot, Daniel.
Yeah, actually, I haven't myself read up too much about all these different lines drawn everywhere that others have produced. I'm sorry, I haven't done that too much. I've done it myself, of course,
Right.
landing outside the island, but that has actually about taken all my time. So,
Okay.
and that's what I'm going to present in this website as well, coming
Right.
out.
So these people that are putting X's on the island from season 8, from season 1 to season 8, your X is outside the island.
Is outside the island, on the mainland.
Okay.
So, which we have been investigating for a very long time, and but because it's so difficult and money-wise and everything, I'm in Sweden, getting there. So it's been a long journey, but I've done it with a friend of mine, and we have the landowners are interested in it as well. And as I said, we have found stuff. We have no idea if it's related to anything on Oak Island, just by these objects, but they are down in the 17th century, somewhere there.
Yeah. But what about the cryptic messages, like in the maps from the La Formula? Did it had any breakdown like you did on the 90-foot stone, like on Zena Halpern's maps? The La Formula?
Could you repeat?
The La
again?
Formula,
Yeah.
that had the same sort of looking cryptic messages that sort of look like the stone, 90-foot stone. Have you ever taken a look at those symbols or not?
Yes, a little bit. I've looked at them, and but there seems to be a derivative of what coming after the. It's French, I think.
Yeah.
The French source, yes. I haven't looked at them too closely. I've checked the decipherment of them, but I thought it was something that came way after. So that's why after 1949.
Okay. Luke Rich has a question. You guys put some questions in. Do you think they, the Knight Templars, left a religious piece that they prayed to? A religious piece that the Freemasons are looking for now?
Could be. It could be. We don't know, actually. We don't know anything what they put down, but there's rumors and there's old hearsay and so on. But actually, I have no idea to speculate on that.
Already. Dean,
more than it was important for them.
Right. It was important for them, obviously. Now, Dean Barker has another question. Why did Francis Bacon refer to Plutarch so much? Did I pronounce that right? Plutarch.
Plutarch.
No idea,
actually. Why did Francis Bacon refer to Plutarch so much? I have no idea. I don't recognize that name.
No problem. And also he asks what to use. Was it an uppercase F or a lowercase f for the 40?
The 40 is there are two F. One of them is crossed out on the Kempton sequence, and two Fs in succession. If you look at Francis Bacon's handwriting or any other handwriting, there's a lot of it where when you start a sentence, you write two big ornamented small Fs or lowercase f's, and then you start the sentence. And those, because spelling was not standardized in 17th century England, so they used those to mark a capital F. It was very common in Elizabethan England.
Right. Also, during season 8, they found a lot of artifacts. Of course, artifacts, we need them to give dates. And it was very important for dates. People understand that, to put a timeline. The two paved areas and they also went up 660 feet on the side of the swamp as another pathway. And this is going to lead me to my next question, is Nolan's Cross.
Yeah.
What do you think Nolan's Cross, and my friend Jake Roberts nailed this perfectly. It's only called Nolan's Cross because it was on Nolan's property. It's not called the directional finder for the Templars. It's not called something that you see from the sea to go this way and that way. What is your theory and your opinions on Nolan's Cross? Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, actually, the last time I was on Oak Island, I went over and checked all those rocks and boulders that are around that, and also I checked some of the rocks that Peter Amundsen referred to, or not the rocks, but the locations.
Right.
And I have changed. I think the data shows not so, the strength is not so good both on the Nolan's Cross and the Amundsen hypothesis with the Tree of Life. From what I could see, that's the only thing I said. From what I could see, there, the boulder on the beach is really small. It's just a small stone, and
really, it looks big. It looks huge on TV.
Yes, but it's not. It's really small.
It's not a 5-ton granite boulder like the rest.
No, it's smaller. But then again, it's under sand, so it could have been. Yeah, so we don't know. But it sticks up very small. So I don't know how big it is underneath the sand there. But I have backed a bit from. In my hypothesis, I have backed a little bit from taking any conclusion of that. It might be that the Nolan's Cross is something that has actually been placed, but the whole place is just shattered with rocks. There's rocks everywhere and boulders, and also split rocks. I've saw a lot of them laying with completely flat overside and and round underside all over the place.
What is the significance of the D8ATH death on the Tree of Life represented on Nolan's Cross?
Could you repeat that again?
What is the significance of death on the Tree of Life represented by Nolan's Cross? DAATH.
Death. Or I don't know the exact. Darth, I think it's named.
Darth. Darth. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's. I think it is. I'm not an expert on the Tree of Life symbol, but I know that the Christians did a version of in their Christian Kabbalah in the 17th century that they did their own design, as also Peter Amundsen say. They did their own design of the Tree of Life, and that is what is represented on the island, according to Peter Amundsen. And the dot, I think, it's a 10th Sephiroth that is placed. That has something to do with salvation or God or something. I'm not the guy to talk to here. I think Peter Amundsen would be much better guy to talk to regarding this.
Yeah, I tried getting him on again, but he sort of burnt out from 2001, and I know he's the man, but I can't really. He's sort of retired from, I guess, the podcast world.
Yeah. Yes.
But like I always tell them too, if they're in the swamp, please dig out the eye. Please dig out Mercy's Point, since you're right there. There's Mercy's Point right there. There's the eye of the swamp right there. Because like I was saying with the blue clay that was there, and just see what it is. Is it a plug? Is there a tunnel underneath the blue clay? Is it a watertight plug in the swamp? To this day, it's always ongoing. And just like my friend Jeffrey Irving says, everybody's theory and everybody's representation since this show started, nothing has been proven yet. It's all ongoing. It's all, they haven't said, nope, your theory's wrong. Nope, that theory's wrong. No, they haven't proved one bit yet, except for the serpent mound. You heard about that one, right? You heard me going crazy. Well, the only thing we know so far that the serpent mound was not a serpent mound. It was just a spoils pile from previous digs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think it's really good that they have started to do some real slow and tedious real archaeological work and getting information from that. I think it's not as exciting as a treasure hunt, but it's really good to collect correct data and real data. So so it's good.
And we're going to button it up pretty shortly, Daniel. I thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
My last question is Smith's Cove and the cross they found on the beach. Now, that whole cove was sifted through a gold machine to find small particles, dug up all over the place, and we found nothing. What is your opinion? How clean? I mean, I'm not talking about Sam Ball's foundation or the McGinnis Foundation that's an ongoing thing to find. But what is your opinion? And even the pathway, the 600-foot pathway, we found some pottery and stuff like that. But I'm still amazed that the amount of people that work this island, that the amount of things that happen on this island, that this island is so clean. Clean as far as, okay, we should be finding a ton of stuff that people haven't searched in before. I'm not talking about the money pit that Runsfield dug up to the hilt. I'm saying all the rest of the island, they seem where they go, seems to be awful clean. Do you have a theory or hypothesis on, why could this be happening? Go ahead, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Well, considering the size of what they've actually built there, the money pit, and so they must have cleaned up. But what I find very strange is that if you go down, as they have done now, go down a bit in the ground, you find a whole pathway. You find a whole pathway that was built, and you find small foundations where they made tar and so on.
Right.
And why didn't they remove that? And my belief with this is that this was done much earlier. It was done in the Middle Ages.
Okay.
When the island had another use, when the money pit was built was in the 17th century.
Right.
Then they clean stuff up. So they clean stuff up, but because the other thing was already down in the ground because it was several hundred years old, so they didn't see it. It was just like covered with soil over it. So, but yes, they must have done some cleaning up. And if you're going to do a secret, as this very, very likely is due to the lack of any kind of documentation for this kind of large project or room or anything. So it must have been a secret, and then they clean it up. If you do something secret, you clean up before you leave it.
Right. But in your dreams, saying at your spot, what do you think is buried there?
In my spot, if there's something buried there, it might have there might be something related to Shakespeare or this kind of authors, or the author and Rosicrucian situation they had back in London in those days, or it could just be esoteric writings or something like that.
So you're more going towards the writings and stuff like that more than, the Ark of the Covenant, the menorah, and items of that such, right? I mean, it could be, but just in your opinion.
Yeah, it could be, but the most likely is that it is something very important to the 17th century Rosicrucian or early Masonic movements. But when I say that, it could be an artifact, it could be stories, it could be books, it could be whatever.
Yep. Luke Rich says, what website? Well, Daniel let us know once the website is active. Obviously, whatever he needs on my 71,000 members. We'll post it for a link to his website because once you're on my show, you're part of the family, Daniel.
Thank you. The website is not up yet. It's
Right.
going to take a long time. So it's sometime the first half of next year. I can't be more specific than that.
Right. And it was a great show. I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And if you want to hang out in the staging area for a little bit after we say our goodbyes, we can chat for a while. And so, gang, what do you think? Unbelievable, right?
Thanks very much for being on the show. Very nice.
Alrighty, Daniel, I'll put you into the staging area. I thank you so much for coming on. You're going to have to come on again now.
Yes, absolutely.
Everybody's thanking you. Barbara, Linda, Daniel, Maureen.
Yep. Thank you very much, all. Thank you very much.
Luke Rich, could the Nolan's cross be like December triangle, 7 stars across? No idea.
No.
Does that make any sense to you, Daniel?
No, I don't know exactly what he refers to.
And Dean Barker, he did look at your cipher text, Dean. He did look at your cipher text on the page. And when he gets back to it, he'll maybe put something in text or something on the Facebook group.
Yeah. I have a video online where I go through it step by step with the cipher wheel, the decipherment, the correction of Dr. Wilhelms.
Nicholas says thank you. Linda says thank you. And I thank you. So we're going to button it up right now. I'm going to put you in the staging area. And I thank you so much, Daniel, for your time today. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. We learn more and more and more. We hear more of who? Francis Bacon. Over and over, Francis Bacon. Is he buried on the island? Who knows? Who knows? Yes, Dean, we'll get back to you. Just watch the Facebook group. He's a member of the group. He'll respond on his time, and I appreciate him for even doing that. No, the 8-deal grid. Yeah, he saw it. He's on it. Okay, guys. Remember, guys, always go forward in my group. You may get a setback, but just believe in yourself to reach your goals. But never give up. You guys be kind. You keep smiling. You stay strong. You stay safe. You stay positive, guys. I thank you so much for joining me and Daniel today. Like I said, it'll always be on Facebook. It'll always be on YouTube for you guys to see it. Take care. We'll see you Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. Good night now.